Hello everybody and welcome back to my Let's Play of Star Trek Judgment Rites. The Enterprise is about to go on shore leave at Nova Atar, and Starfleet just gave us a little assignment just to attend a ceremony that's being held at the Smithsonian Annex that's on that planet. So they're already going there anyway, so they were happy to do that. This mission museum piece is actually one of my favorite missions of this game. Now you're thinking, hey, you're just on shore leave, what can you possibly do on a mission? You'll see. So I want to check something real quick. Come on. Yeah, we got 3 points on the last mission, so it's not too bad. Let's get computer for Serency. That's what the ceremony's for. Okay.
Serency.
Okay.
A large, influential extended family among several controlling Lockian. Cross-reference entry, Lockian.
Let me write that down so some of these things are kind of hard to remember how to spell.
Lockian. Governed by large, extended families, the inhabitants of this world escaped a dying planet several generations ago to relocate to Lockian. After a troubled period of re-establishment of their culture and industrial base, the Lockians recently petitioned for admittance into the Federation.
Okay. So let me get my star chart out here and let's go over to Nova Atar. Okay. It's on the bottom here. Sorry. This paper hit that microphone.
We've arrived at Nova Atar, Captain.
Bring us into standard orbit, Mr. Sulu.
Aye, Captain.
Let me guess, it looks exactly like the other planets in this game. Yep.
We are at Nova Atar.
Curator Brezhnev bids you to beam down at your pleasure.
Okay.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Chekhov, come with me. Mr. Spock, you have the car.
So this one I just have Scott and Chekhov with me, so nice change of pace.
Captain Kirk, good to meet you. I am Boris Brezhnev, curator of the museum. Everyone is buzzing about visitors from the Enterprise. A real feather in my cap.
The pleasure is ours, sir. This is my chief engineer, Mr. Scott, and Ensign Chekhov, our navigator.
Most pleased to meet you both. Chekhov, a fine name. I'm certain you will be interested in sampling the Kazakhstanian cognac, distilled and blended by my family. In fact, I will later show you my most prized possession, a bottle of our finest vintage, aged 40 years from our very first pressing.
But isn't cognac French?
Originally, Mr. Scott. But before my ancestors came to settle this planet, they went to Cognac and purchased cuttings, brought them here, and made enhancements. You could say we reinvented Cognac.
And nobody believed Chekhov when he said that they invented it. And they're stretched.
I do not wish to be rude, but you gentlemen are a bit early, and I must see to making certain the cleaning crews are finished working. Please, feel free to look about a bit. I will page you later, and maybe you will join me in a small toast before the ceremonies? Yes?
It would be our pleasure, Curator.
I told you we invented it. Maybe we were a little hard on you, laddie.
Never doubted you for a second, Mr. Chekhov. Now let's take advantage of this time and look around.
Now we don't have an inventory, so because we couldn't have anything on here, but you could take a look at the exhibits and that's pretty interesting, some of the stuff they have.
The walls of this hexagonal exhibition room appear quite sturdy. Although some exhibits are old, all are well maintained. The plaque reads, an old ground-based phaser cannon model B-17, the real equalizer, rescued from a Federation scrapyard, probably based on the frontier near Nelapur. This phaser cannon no longer possesses any of its focusing or targeting equipment. The large capacitors in the base allowed a variety of power sources, to be used to energize the cannon and gave the real equalizer considerable flexibility in use.
It's probably used for defenses.
The Klingon console looks operational, but without a ship attached, it's hard to tell. Written on the plaque, this is a control console from a Klingon warbird, the Klarg, which was salvaged from the battle wreckage near Crimmins 8.
Think you could make that work, Mr. Scott?
Of course, Captain. But it's not like I'll ever have to.
Lights cascade continually above the surface of this device. Plaques on each side read, "The Vandecourt Aurora generator was donated to this museum by Sir William Loudon." Originally, a university experiment designed to test broadcast power as both a containment system and photostimulation for possible use in a propulsion system, the unit was presented as a gift to Loudon, who liked the way it looked and had recently donated a significant sum to the university. The plaque reads, "The Niven, non-integrated Vulcan electronumerator, was one of the earliest versions of a Vulcan computer. Some of the components were found to only function correctly at high temperatures. Since the focus in those early days was on computational effectiveness and not user-friendliness, the operator could not stand near the Niven during its operation. Input to the machine was cabled in from a separate device, hence it was a non-integrated computer."
Let's see.
Kirk seems to be enjoying the leisurely stroll around the museum.
That's why I like
Scotty
this.
thinks this is the best shore leave he's ever had.
The reason why I like this mission is I like looking at all this stuff here.
Chekhov is pleased to finally be with someone from his ancestral culture.
Now these things do, they show different, areas.
This was a sensor diagram from the Remembrance, an early Terran interstellar craft. Low and sleek, this space vehicle has a Spartan look, written on the plaque. This is the escape pod in which the famous smuggler known as the Black McKiernan was captured. Unable to outrun his pursuers, McKiernan tried to escape in the pod as he blew up his ship, hoping the authorities would think he had perished. The pod had been specially constructed of expensive metalloceramic alloys to withstand such an escape tactic. Unfortunately for McKiernan, the pursuit included a trailing scout ship looking for a backtracking maneuver, and when the smiling smuggler opened the hatch thinking he'd made planetfall, he was treated to the inside view of a Federation cruiser's shuttle bay.
And probably several phasers pointing at him too.
The plaque reads, "A failed experiment in Habis robotics. The Green Mark 6 was one of those ideas where the original concept might have been sound, but the follow-ups were too much. Planned as a simple cargo handler, attempts were made at increasing its function and therefore its flexibility. Unfortunately, proposed missions such as security were well beyond its recognition systems and processors. One small piece of lasting notoriety was that the Mark 6 was one of the first Habis robotic uses of room temperature superconducting wiring. While the wiring concept went forward, little else of this robot did."
What room temperature superconductor is if we could find out ways to get that to work, our energy crisis is solved. I don't know the full specifics, but most conductors nowadays have to have some really varied temperature controls like coolant and stuff on it, because they generate so hot. But if they have a room temperature superconductor, it'll be so much easier to maintain.
The surface of the old docking ring is pitted from micrometeorite strikes, and there are several large welds running completely around it. Many magnetic coupling clamps are uniformly spaced around the ring. The plaque reads, "This docking ring was recovered in pieces from the port facilities at Genevieve 9, where it was broken when a freighter, the Hardy, accidentally turned on its thrusters just before mooring was completed.
Oh. That was probably did not work.
This prop helps support the docking ring. Kirk notices that the museum had to dismantle the docking ring in order to get the machine through the small door to display it in this room. Scotty always said that Habus robots like that would never have any future in Starfleet. Chekhov smiles as he looks at the docking ring.
That docking ring reminds me of something, Captain.
Is this a long story, Mr. Chekhov?
Yes, Captain.
Don't forget, we may get called back to the curator's office soon. Maybe this can wait until after the ceremonies.
Yes, Captain.
It may not look much like it, Captain, but that escape pod is a fine piece of work.
There's something about that robot I find vaguely disturbing.
I'm sure we're in no danger from that old piece of junk, Captain.
Hold on a minute. Sorry, I had a itch in my nose. I didn't want you to hear my sneeze. Have the microphone on the highest gain because they need to be a little quiet right now, and didn't want you to get your ears blasted out from my sneeze. So.
Hulking consoles ring the room, making the raised pedestal stand out even more. The plaque reads, one of the most widely used and most stable designs ever. The Umber Hubble Mark 84 has been used in far more ships than any other model.
They didn't finish it. Created originally for the Decon class cruisers, the Umber Hubble was quickly adapted to a wide variety of ships. Scotty goes to look at it.
Captain Kirk, I trained on one of these. It's solid as a rock and twice as dependable.
Remind me after the ceremony. I'll talk to the curator about letting you look this one over.
Thank you, Captain. I'd dearly love to put it through its paces.
This EVA suit was worn by Ivan Petrovsky, a late 21st century Terran astronaut, during the famous Commonwealth mission. Petrovsky used this suit to dock with the damaged spacecraft SS Commonwealth and saved the vessel from certain destruction in orbit around Mars.
Petrovsky? Isn't that a Russian name?
I don't think so, Mr. Chekhov.
I sincerely doubt it, laddie.
Really? I would have sworn it was Russian.
At least Eastern European.
The plaque on the old machine reads, an early experimental transporter. The Murnane 8 was from a time before transporters were safe for travel by living beings. Constructed to be a frequently modified testbed, the Murnane 8 had only a small loading bay. The destination controls were also still in testing, making the use of this transporter as much art as science. An old communications panel. On the plaque, this communications station was removed off the old freighter, Big Bear Running, when that ship was retired from its customary Benchley to Sawcare run. Outdated by today's standards, this system was known for its powerful transmitter and ease of repair. As a side note, the shell of the Big Bear Running was used as a testing target for present models of photon torpedoes. Chekhov thinks this is interesting, but that he's too young to be spending his shore leave in a stuffy old museum. Kirk realizes this is probably heaven to Scotty, but this isn't his favorite type of history. Scotty is quite pleased that the captain enjoys this as much as he does.
I hope the ceremony doesn't last too long. I'm starting to get hungry.
I'm sure it won't be much longer, Mr. Chekhov. There are some impressive items in this museum.
Aye, they went to a lot of trouble to find some of these beauties. Not that I'm ever planning to leave the Enterprise, but a man could do worse than spend his retirement here. A lot worse.
I don't know, Scotty. I don't think I can really imagine you wanting to spend your days tinkering with antiques.
Perhaps you're right, but these things do have their charm.
Let's go into this room and see what's in there.
This case contains an astronomical model of the Lockean system.
So this must be what the one that they are going to return to the Soransi family.
This case contains a model of an ancient Lockean temple in honor of the guests. A very old space probe rests on a pedestal in the roped-off area. It shows considerable wear. The plaque reads, "An ancient probe recently discovered near the Nova Attar system. Early studies indicate that the probe originated from the Lockean system. Interestingly, the technology involved in the probe's creation surpasses the current technology of the originating planet."
That's all.
This guard is dressed exactly the same as the other guard. This guard is...
We're just guards, sir. We don't know anything.
Kirk thinks there's something familiar about the item on the pedestal, but can't remember why. Scotty hopes nothing was damaged when the museum moved the other exhibits out of this room for the ceremony. Chekhov wonders if the artifact on the pedestal was of Russian origin.
I really doubt it.
I bet I could make that wee probe function given a little time, Captain.
I suspect the Soransi wants it just the way it is. But if the opportunity comes up, we can ask if they want you to repair it. That probe looks like it's seen better days.
This diplomatic stuff is quite dull, Captain. Is it always like this?
Unfortunately, Mr. Chekhov, yes.
I think I'll stick to starships, Captain.
You do that, Ensign.
A lot of people don't like ceremonies. They rather just do what their work is.
I'm sorry, this door is for museum personnel only. Have a nice day.
Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office, please. Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office.
Okay, we won't be able to see that last room yet, so...
I hope you enjoyed your tour, gentlemen. Please join me. Would you mind if the first toast with the Kazakhstanian was to the Enterprise?
Curator, why isn't that Brezhnev cognac?
For heaven's sakes, Chekhov, don't interrupt a man on the verge of toasting the best ship in the fleet with the finest cognac on this side of the galaxy.
My apologies.
Questions later, then. The toast. Here's to the Starship Enterprise.
Alert.
What could this be?
A conspiracy, if you ask me, Captain.
Let me pull this up on screen.
Shut off the camera.
They've destroyed my camera. Well, let's see how they deal with our other security systems.
Ouch. Before I end this Let's Play, let's check to see if he's alright. Maybe just out cold.
He's unconscious, Captain.
Thanks, Mr. Chekhov. I was just thinking how useless it would have been for Dr. McCoy to have come with us.
Okay, you see, that's how the mission starts. These guys, these terrorists or something are holding up the probe. I'm going to end this Let's Play here. And then in the next Let's Play, I'll go and see if we could find a way to stop these guys from whatever they're doing and find out why. And I could see the last part of the exhibits when I'm going through this mission. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.